It's spring 1988. I'm sitting in an English class, and I get up and I walk out because that class was a complete waste of time. Now, I wasn't the best student, but what gave me so much confidence in walking out knowing it was a waste of time? Well, it was because I got accepted to the venerable Humboldt State University a few weeks earlier. And I determined that it was no longer necessary for me to do anything else in that English class other than pass. And my presence in the class was not required for getting that passing grade. So I determined that the class was a waste of time, and I walked out. So what does my poor academic record and learning skills have to do with Construction Genius podcast? Well, we're going to find out here today, because one of the things you're going to learn is why walking out of meetings that are a waste of time is actually an act of kindness. And today we're going to be learning from one of the most successful business people in all of human history, and that is Elon Musk. Let's dive right in.
This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership.
All right, Elon Musk, love him, hate him. He builds companies that make a difference. And so we're going to take some tips from him today on productivity. This is from my email to all Tesla employees in 2018. Let's dive right in. Number one, excessive meetings are the blight of big companies and almost always get worse over time. Please get rid of all large meetings unless you're certain they're providing value to the whole audience, in which case, keep them very short. Key phrase here, providing value to the audience. So whether your meeting is large or small, always ask that question. Are the people involved in the meeting able to provide value, get value from the information that's being shared? Think about this in terms of construction. Obviously, meetings are vital, particularly as they relate to either winning work, planning work, or building work. But are we having too many meetings? Are the meetings not focused on providing value? Are the wrong people in the meetings and therefore wasting time and precious money? Make sure that those project meetings are dialed in so that you have the right people in the room for the right amount of time, exchanging the right information so that you can keep moving forward. Okay. Also, next paragraph here is third paragraph down, actually. Walk out of a meeting or drop off a call as soon as it's obvious that you aren't adding value. I love this one very much, right? You're 20 minutes into the meeting. Your portion is already finished. You don't need to be there for the rest of the meeting, so why are you there? Ask yourself, am I adding value? And if you're not, it's not rude to leave. It is rude to make someone stay and waste their time. So therefore, stand up and walk out. Next one, don't use acronyms or nonsense words for objects, software, or processes. Now, this is really great in construction because we get the old heads in the room and they've been in the business for many, many years. Or you have, let's say, a new client or a new sub in the room, and you guys start throwing around the acronyms and people are looking with blank stares. They don't know what's going on. Maybe they're a little intimidated, so they don't want to raise their hand and sound dumb by asking what that means. Or you have new people in the room, right? Your new project engineers, and they want to make an impression. And again, all these acronyms are flying around and they don't know what's actually being said. So stop using the acronyms. In other words, use simple, plain language as much as you can. Switch off your engineer geek mindset and just go into normal person mode and communicate what needs to be communicated. Here's the next one. Communication should travel via the shortest path necessary to get the job done, not through the chain of command. I like this. Now, I know in construction, we're very much committed to a chain of command, but what's interesting about Elon's letters is they communicate the culture that he wants in his companies. So you have to decide what kind of culture you want in your company. If you want to emphasize chain of command, then perhaps you ignore this piece of advice. But if you want to get things moving quickly through your business, you should be able to communicate in such a way so that a project engineer instead of having to talk to their project manager, who then talks to the superintendent, who then talks to the foreman, is able to pick up the phone and just talk directly to the foreman and communicate information and get stuff done. Okay? Hey, this is Eric. Hope you're enjoying these insights from Elon Musk. And while we're here, don't forget more insights from my book, Construction Genius. I've had a couple of companies just recently purchase 10 copies of the book for $19.99. So for under $200, what they've done is secured 1 hour of my time for a question and answers session and also some additional bonus training via Zoom. And that is worth $3,500. So if you spend less than $200 purchasing 10 copies of my book, which is kick-ass, with many, many 5-star reviews, you can then have everyone in your leadership team read the book, get a tremendous amount of value out of it, and then also get me for an hour. Shoot me an email with the receipt from buying those books. We'll get the hour set up. And now back to a little more wisdom from Elon Musk. All right, next one. A major source of issues is poor communication between departments. The way to solve this is to allow the free flow of information between all levels. If in order to get something done between departments, an individual contributor has to talk to their manager, who talks to a director, who talks to a VP, and it goes on from there. Again, we're just making the same point here. It must be okay for people to talk directly and just make the right thing happen. So again, if you have the right people in the right positions in your organization, then you should be open to this kind of levelless communication, because you can trust them to be able to communicate the right things in the right ways to the right people at the right time, all of the time. And of course, this is a learning process, so this is not always going to go well. Toes may get stepped on, but you must insist on this if you want to be able to get a free flow of communication in your organization. Okay. Couple more things here. In general, always pick common sense as your guide. If following a company rule is obviously ridiculous in a particular situation, then the rule should change. Think about that. You may have established company rules for whatever reason in the past. They're no longer applicable. You should be open to changing those rules. And again, if this comes from the top of the organization, from you as the CEO or leader of your construction company, it gives people the freedom to break these dumb rules that don't make any sense. All right, last couple of paragraphs. If there's something you think should be done to make Tesla execute better or allow you to look forward to coming to work more, please send a note to, and then that person is redacted. Now, this is interesting. Perhaps you could establish one person in your organization with the sufficient authority to receive that kind of communication so that people are free to communicate with that person the things that can be done better or the things that can be implemented or put in place so that people actually look forward to coming to work. And why is that important? Well, at Tesla, you'll see the last paragraph here. Thanks for being such a kick-ass team and accomplishing miracles every day. It matters. We are burning the midnight oil to burn the midnight oil. Again, Elon's burning the midnight oil, the candle from both ends. He's kicking ass and taking names. And if that's your company, then you need to remove as much friction as possible from people's lives so that they'll actually look forward to coming in and working extremely hard and kicking ass on a regular basis. So establish that point person who can receive that information, disseminate it to the necessary people, and make the changes so that your company is a great place to work on an ongoing basis for the right people who are in the right positions. All right, so that's a quick overview of some of Elon's thoughts on productivity. Hope you found it helpful. Hope you found some tips here that you can instill in your people, and appreciate you checking it out. Hey, this is Eric. Thank you for listening today. Hope you enjoyed these insights into productivity, particularly around running effective meetings. I have a link in the show notes to a short ebook. It's free. It's called Kick-Ass Business Meetings. It describes the process I've used with my clients for 2 decades to help them to identify, analyze, and then solve the problems that they face in their organization. So click the link in the show notes to get that free ebook. I know you'll enjoy it. It'll be tremendously useful. And thank you for listening to Construction Genius today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity. And to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.